Hi guys. Today I bring you this new video in the form of a tutorial on how I made one of my last Doom covers. So you'll be able to convert this into this. Well, in order to do it, I'll take inspiration from Cultist Bass by Mick Gordon. The first step we will see will be the guitar. I know the main instrument on Cultist Bass is a lawnmower, but there aren't many clean samples of lawnmowers, or at least I haven't found one, so I'll use this and try to make the final product sound as similar as possible. As you can hear, the guitar by itself barely makes sound. I'm using the VST Odin 2. I've set the humanize knob to 100%. In order to make the guitar sound wider and fuller. I have another guitar ready to play the exact same melody at the same time. Now, the first effect on our effects chain will be a compressor. Then from here I've put some distortion and a cab. After that, some OTT, an exciter and EQ. That was the sound of one guitar. Let's hear what two guitars sound like. Remember that you have to pan the guitars. One for each side. Once we sum these two signals, we can put some extra effects on them. I've used some more overdrive and EQ. Metal Fortress helped me when I had to use amps for the first time, and this is what he taught me. If you see this, thank you. For the bass, I've used this free plugin that just came out called Vital. It's really easy to use. Let's go step by step. First, we have some deep saw wave with a subtle triangle wave. Put more voices to it with low pitch spread. Now some EQ. A lot of synfold distortion. Multiband compression and a bit of reverb. After this, I've processed this bass in two ways and then mixed them, one for the low part and another one for the high part. For the first one, use some overdrive, removed the lows with EQ, and added more distortion. For the second one, remove the highs with EQ and put overdrive. I also used the sound of a chainsaw to keep the traditions. Just sampled a chainsaw sound that I found on YouTube and put the cleanest part in direct wave. It's very likely that you'll have to tune it before you use it. To make it loop, just go to the sample menu and set the start and end loop time, then select the option, forward. You can process it with some EQ to remove resonances, add distortion, even more distortion and more EQ. For that little bird sound, just use 3x oscillator. Use a sine wave and draw this shape on the volume envelope. Use some OTT to add an aggressive transient. For the drums, I have to say that it's still difficult for me to mix them, so maybe there's an easier and better way to make them sound like in the original Cultist bass. I used the default metal kit that comes in the FPC plugin in FL Studio. You just have to configure the output of each sound as you like. This is what it sounds like without effects. I decided to use both sounds of the snare at the same time, and the hi-hat doesn't even sound. In the kick track, I used some distortion, EQ and transient processor. In the snare track, I used EQ, distortion, 346 transient processors and a bit of reverb. For the hats, use reverb, EQ and distortion. I've also stacked short kick and snare samples to add thickness. For the crashes and noise, just add a bit of reverb and EQ if necessary. All this drums tracks go directly to one main drums track in which I use a bit more of reverb, multiband compressor and a limiter. Finally, for the siren sound, I also used Vital. As you can see, there's some automation on the pitch. Use an envelope to modify the pitch and volume of these 3 saw waves as I show. Just assign the pitches of the 3 waves to a macro and modify the macro with the envelope. Add multiband compression, distortion, EQ. Notice that this EQ changes depending of the note I press. Add reverb and a subtle delay. You can automate the attack of the envelope as you like. Here's an example. After that, add a limiter. I've added a secondary delay that only take place at the end of the song. I've set this small effect with gross beat in the bass, guitar and chainsaw track to achieve even more that cultist bass feeling. You can set these gain reductions when the kick and snare play on these tracks too. Just put a peak controller on both drums and configure 2 gain knobs to go down when the peak controllers go up. As an extra, you can add the original track to add more fullness. I used a soundgodizer and some EQ. This is the final result, smiley face. That's it. I hope you enjoyed and share it with your friends. If you wanna see more tutorials of this kind, then don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to indicate it. Without more to say, see you in the next video.